Welcome to another 4-H Focus, and today I am joined by Bailey Wilson, and she is a former Champaign County 4-H member. Welcome, Bailey.
Hello, thank you for having me, talking to me.
Give us your 4-H story. What club were you with, and how long were you a 4-H member?
I was a Philo 4-H Friends, the maximum of 10 years. I was probably somehow an 11-year or 12-year member, but I was in Philo 4-H Friends for the whole time. I was in 4-H Federation for as well as the maximum time, I think all my 4 years of high school, still probably somehow a 5th year in there somehow. I felt like I was pretty much involved in everything that I could while I was in. And my older sister was in 4-H, and my mom took her growing up. And then when, I kind of grew into it, so I kind of aged in and out of the 4-H group, I guess I would say, in Philo.
Fantastic. Did they have clover buds when you were a member?
I think about towards my last 5 years, about halfway through, I think they started to get into that a little more. And they definitely grew.
Yeah.
While I was there.
Yeah. But you didn't get to be in the clover bud program.
It was not in clover buds. If it was when I was when I was that young, it was definitely not something that was as big as it is now. I think it's much more exciting for little kids.
Yeah. They definitely have a lot of great activities for the youth. I mean, the clover bud leaders are very creative in what they come up with the kids. We've started coming up with some statewide programs as well too, just trying to get the kids engaged in different things. So they definitely feel special and as part of the club as well.
I did several of the little club weekly sessions that extension leaders would come do at the library when I was younger than 4-H years, all growing up. Betty, the extension lady, is what we always called her back in the day. Would come and do stuff at the Philo library every Thursday, and then it became Tuesdays and Thursdays, stuff like that. So started early, but not with clover buds early.
Okay. But definitely involved with extension somehow.
Yes.
Yeah. And were those cooking programs?
Yeah, the cooking ones.
Yeah, for kids.
Yes, that's where I learned all about the food pyramid. I even remember it changing several times in my childhood was when it was changing, going from, the black one to with the pillars and the guy walking up the side.
Right.
The my plate. It's funny the memories that you remember from that.
Well, speaking of memories, would you care to share one of your favorite 4-H memories with us as a club member?
I would say most of my favorite 4-H memories were from Federation time. It might have just been that I was older and I was able to kind of create those memories a little more, but working with the other high school students from other schools was really cool. I went to Unity, so I was kind of stuck with the same people, my whole school years, and I didn't ever really hang out with people outside of my school until then. And I met some really cool, fun people through that, that I still keep up with on Facebook and stuff. But we just did so many fun things. And I just felt like the group that we had at that time, everybody was so passionate and worked really hard and dedicated, showed up to every meeting. We planned a 5K and hosted that in town, and I remember how much work that was and all the little things that we had to do. We created a logo and got the people to come time it and all that stuff.
Wow.
We did all kinds of drives and lock-ins and lockouts and retreats and things that were just always so much fun to meet up to with the other federations from the other counties and things that a lot of the team building activities I kind of still implement into my career today.
Yeah, it sounds like great time with others, as well as doing things and learning and putting together a 5K. That's a pretty big undertaking, but there are lots of you working
for 15, 16-year-olds, the stuff that we could accomplish together with help. Of course, we had some fantastic leaders through the years. Was always so cool to see it come to fruition.
Now, you mentioned that you're using some of those skills today. What are you doing now?
So I graduated from Eastern Illinois University with my degree to teach family consumer sciences.
Great.
And then I actually moved to College Station, Texas, where I now teach family consumer sciences to high school students. But I teach the fashion design class, which is kind of like sewing. And then the child development class, which gets the robot babies, you know, that cry and all the fun
Yes.
stuff. And then I also teach the lifetime nutrition and wellness class, which is kind of like Foods 101, teaches you the basic cooking skills, nutrition, kind of how to make healthy choices and things, all the stuff that Betty, the extension lady, taught me back in the day.
A lot of opportunities for kids. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fantastic to see how your early experiences with extension and 4-H have obviously kind of played an influence on what you're doing today.
Yeah, it's crazy that basically all the stuff that I did in 4-H is now when I'm teaching.
Now, what projects did you take when you were in 4-H?
When I was in 4-H, I think it was crazy. My first year in 4-H, I had, I think, 11 or 13 projects, something like that. And then through the years, this amount became smaller. But I always did a lot of the art projects, painting and drawing. Mm-hmm. And then the cake decorating was a big one that I always did, as well as the baking and the several of those cooking ones, as well as the child development. I can't remember what the child development ones were called, but I would have, you know, lessons or things that I taught to kids and projects or little games that I would create for kids. And several sewing projects too I did over the years. So a lot of them just stemmed right into where I ended up.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And I think that's pretty typical of a new 4-H member, where they get all excited because you get that project guide. You're like, oh, look at all the things that I can
do all of them.
Yeah, you do. You want to sign up for a whole wide. And then as you get older, you definitely find where your interests lie and kind of narrow things down. So, well, thank you so much for your time today, Bailey. I really appreciate it. And it's great to get to hear your story of your years in 4-H and where you're at and what you're doing now, and sharing that on. So actually, I guess I should ask you, have you gotten involved with 4-H down in Texas? Is there a lot of 4-H around there?
I think I've been told that 4-H around here is kind of one of the bigger areas for this. I see billboards all the time, and I see kids in it a lot more than I would say that I did when I was in school. I have volunteered for a couple different events. They have kind of I can't even remember what the abbreviations are because it's a bunch of letters. But I volunteer as a what would not be the judge, but the judge's assistant, to help them kind of go through the paperwork and all the stuff that similar to 4-H always had. But it's for 4-H kids and for FFA kids and FCCLA kids, like all those kind of local kiddos. And so it brings them all together, and it's really cool to see that. And there's always a ton of 4-H kids that come into that. I helped Jamie with a 4-H event just yesterday, actually, for a Champaign County event. And I've reached out before to the local groups, but haven't had an opportunity to do much. I want to, but with being a young teacher, has taken a huge toll on my time. You know what I mean?
I bet. So, well, they'll be lucky to have you, and you involved down there. So.
Someday with my own, 8-year-old kids, who knows, I might end up being a leader someday.
I'd bet money on that.
Yeah, I kind of do.
All right. Well, thank you again, Bailey. It's really great to talk to you.
You too. Nice to see you. Thank you.